everybody, Mark Schaftlein with you, and this is the Schaftlein Report. We're going to cover everything. We're going to cut through all the propaganda, give it to you straight from left, right, and center. The opinions are what counts. Happy weekend, folks. Mark Schaftlein with you, Schaftlein Report. Boy, I'm telling you, this has been a crazy week. You know, every week in politics, you think, no, after we saw Joe Biden, basically a debate performance disaster. We see Trump get shot. Thank God he got through that okay. Then we have Biden drop out of the race. Harris comes on board. Polling numbers go haywire. Harris honeymoon, media fawning. But now all of a sudden, the week ended and the esteemed vice president laid out her economic plan. We're going to get to that. Folks, when we tell you it's a communist manifesto, we are not exaggerating. So, having said that, I've got a very special guest on our weekend show today. Cameron Moore, a great American, founded numerous companies, was in the technology business, the educational business. He can tell you a little bit more about that, but he runs American Heroes Association, a nonprofit. Cameron, welcome to Schaftlein Report. So happy to have you as my guest today.
Thank you, Mark. Humbled and honored to be here. I appreciate it.
Hey, give our weekend audience a little bit of background on yourself and then talk a little bit about American Heroes, because you've done some great things for the nonprofit in addition to great things you've done here for our country.
A little background on myself is I worked in the classroom technology space. I provided K-12 schools classroom technology that the teachers were able to integrate into their curriculum and help student engagement. I left the company a few years ago, fell under some attacks because of my political views, and then decided to go all in on the fight of this country. American Heroes Association helps give a voice to the voiceless. We help good veteran causes, America First candidates. We help fundraise for them, and we help fundraise for our nation's leaders like General Michael Flynn.
Well, and I'm going to add something to that, Cameron. You and Matt Struck have produced some incredible videos. And folks, we're going to show you some of those videos on the show today. These are really incredible. And of course, Donald Trump is the star in these videos. So we'll get to those a little bit later in the show, but stick with us on that. These are some great videos that Matt and Cameron put together. All right, let's get into the vice president's economic plan. And folks, it literally is straight out of the Communist Manifesto. She is arguing for price controls on groceries. I kid you not. Price controls never work on anything. They failed miserably all over the world. You look at what happens in Cuba. No wonder they're driving 50-year-old cars around. Even the Russians abandoned this, price controls. You know, last year, people were concerned about rising costs. Well, as they should be. The Biden administration, prices are up 20.2% on food items since they took office 42 months ago. So when I'm sitting here listening to the vice president's economic plan, I'm saying, wait a minute, you had 3.5 years to fix this. Now you're borrowing from the playbook of the Communist Party and want to put price controls on food? Listen, folks, last month, food prices were only up 1.1% on an annual basis. And let me share this little nugget with you. The average profit margin for a grocery business is 1.2%, whereas the average business in America is 8.5%. Cameron, you heard that economic plan. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw what she was advocating? Price controls, government regulation. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. They're trying to give the government even more power than they already have. President Trump wants to give the power back to the people. You know, the price gouging on food. I mean, if you could tie this into Bill Gates being the largest farm owner in the United States. You know, last time I checked, we the people run our government, and not Washington D.C. I just question the intelligence of anyone who would want something like this in our country.
Yeah, and Cameron, she also talked about this phony price gouging scheme. I mean, even Abby Phillip, who's a commentator on CNN, I was flipping channels, saw something last night. Even she referred to this as like a phony, made-up issue. I mean, price gouging on companies? Come on. I mean, Again, folks, we're not making this stuff up. I mean, this is literally out of her own mouth, but there is one good news behind all this. None of this horrific ideas are likely to become legislation. And I can assure you this, if the polls are right on these Senate races right now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, then we won't have to worry about it, because if the Republicans are controlling the Senate, which it looks like they very well may be, none of these horrific ideas, if she was elected, could make it. But folks, do not underestimate what these Democrats will do. They also had some hairball scheme. Look at all of this. She wants to give $25,000 grant. I mean, just have the government give money to young first-time home buyers who have successfully paid their rent for the past 2 years. And my reaction, Cameron, when I heard that was, you've got to be out of your mind. I mean, what that would do, we already have a tight housing market right now. That would further drive up home prices. And then what about the people who maybe didn't make all their payments on time, or can't buy a house for one reason or another right now, or don't want to? Why are we picking one group and saying, well, this is the advantaged group that we're going to give them money when other groups can't? And you know who ends up paying for this? Of course, it's you and me, the taxpayers. Cameron, this is another terrible idea that she has.
Yeah, it's definitely a recipe for disaster. It's hard enough right now in today's economy for young people to be able to even go out and get homes, especially with this interest rate. And this could lead to a big foreclosure problem down the road. This is why we need to get Trump back in office, put some money back in our pockets, and get these young people out there that deserve to own homes as first-time homeowners, and get them into these homes.
I agree with you on that, Cameron. And think about this, folks. The Biden administration tried to get rid of hundreds of billions of dollars of student loan relief, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. What are they doing now? They're working on ways to circumvent the Supreme Court. So, Cameron, I submit this to you. All of these initiatives are purely political. They're geared towards the youth vote. And at the end of the day, I think when more and more Americans, Cameron, realize the horrific policies that she's advocating, I think these poll numbers may go down a little bit. But hey, I mentioned earlier in the show, we've got a treat for you. And Cameron has produced a group of terrific videos. Matt Struck edited these videos. I want to start right now with our first one, Mr. Producer. It's called Heroes. Folks, you're really going to enjoy this. So enjoy Heroes here on Schaftlein Report.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
I will be king, and you will be queen. For nothing will drive them away. We can beat them just for one day. We can be heroes just for one day. And you can be me. And I'll drink all the time. 'Cause we're lovers, and that is a fact. Yes, we're lovers, and that is that. For nothing will keep us together. We could steal time just for one day. We can be heroes
I never knew it would be this vile, that it would be this bad, that it would be this vicious. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you.
I wish you could swim like dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever and ever. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day.
We always have known that this was not the end. It was only the beginning of our fight to rescue the American dream. We will not be intimidated. We will persevere. We will stand tall in the storm. We will march forward. We will again put America first.
And we're back. Folks, wasn't that terrific? And if you think Heroes was good, when we come back from the break, I've got a story that Cameron's going to tell you about how that all came together and a very high-ranking government official who we had a discussion with about this. Okay, going to take our first break, be back in 90 seconds, and then we've got some great stuff on the other side for you.
Sounds rolling. All three cameras. We're good.
Is there any regrets that you have in life? I should sit here and say, yeah, I got a lot of regrets. But when I look back on my life and I understand the lives that were lost, I mean, I'm sitting here with you and I can tell my story.
Former National Security Advisor Lieutenant General Michael Flynn pleaded guilty today to lying to the FBI.
He was one of the most respected generals in the military.
He was, by definition, the most dangerous possible person for Donald Trump to hire.
Really brilliant military career, serving 33 years.
Why was he being so elusive?
Mike Flynn told the truth and faced life in prison.
Every American needs this historical DVD keepsake. Flynn delivered the truth, whatever the cost. Hand signed by General Michael Flynn, one of America's most treasured military heroes. Order now at the Patriot TV store. Go to Patriot TV, click on Store, and grab a once-in-a-lifetime chance to own a treasured piece of American history. And get your own personal download link to watch America's most talked-about movie, as well as a DVD hand-signed by General Michael Flynn. Use promo code PTV at checkout to get special savings. The Patriot TV store. Incredible savings and a secure, hassle-free shopping experience.
And we're back. Cameron, you've got an interesting story about that video. Why don't you share that with our viewers and listeners?
Well, first off, we'll talk about the video. The video is a good old-fashioned piece of Americana. Shows President Trump giving these presidential medals to all of the good guys that served our country, where Obama gave these to some interesting people, Tom Hanks, Ellen DeGeneres, Joe Biden, and others. Many of these people that were on the Epstein Island flight logs. So it's an incredible video that honors our military and gives people hope that what's going to come when President Trump gets back in office. The Gateway Pundit did an article about it. It was a pretty amazing experience. And then President Trump shared it. And I was fortunate enough to be at Mar-a-Lago that night after the president shared it. I had a little discussion with the president. I told him I was the one that made it. He said this is one of the greatest videos he's ever seen, and he thanked me for it. And I was just, wow, I was blown away. I was super grateful for his kind words, and as the kind man he is, just an exciting time. And I got to give props here to Matt Struck, just the absolute best video editor ever. Matt and I spent countless hours on this thing, and I just want to thank him for how long it took to make this. So a video of 5 minutes could take upwards of 8 to 12 hours to create. So thanks, Matt, and just what an amazing, grateful experience.
That's a great picture of you and the president, Cameron. I mean, that's, folks, that's why we're welcoming Cam to Patriot TV. He's got so much insight. Him and Matt are going to be doing some great things on Patriot TV. And like we've mentioned, Matt's going to be out on the road covering these Trump events, and we'll have the live feed of the events. And then Matt will be interviewing people and cutting clips for us, and you'll be able to see that all here at Patriot TV. All right, Cameron, we got some other issues to tackle here. Besides her horrific economic plans, we still, even to today, through the weekend, have still not had one press conference and no interviews. I mean, we refer to it on Election Edge, that runs Monday through Friday, 6 Eastern, 3 West Coast, as the hostage crisis. The American voters are being held hostage by Kamala Harris. Cameron, how long can this go on? I know we've got the DNC next week, and they're going to have a coronation, but will we literally go through the whole DNC before we finally get somebody in the media to actually talk to her, have her hold a press conference?
I mean, why is Kamala hiding? We all know she can't articulate anything, can't put two words together with their word salad responses, but seriously, you are a 2024 presidential candidate and you can't speak to the people? I mean, President Trump's out there speaking to anyone that'll talk to him, giving him truth, giving him answers. Why is she hiding? Where is Kamala? It's time for her to come out of the woodwork and speak to the American people in the presidential race she's running for.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, folks, think about this for a minute. In the 2020 campaign, we ended up Biden in the basement, and look where that got us. A cognitively declining president that had to drop out of a presidential race. Now, I mean, no one's questioning Kamala Harris's cognitive abilities. We know she's a fairly smart cookie, despite what the president says, but not being available to the American public for even an interview with the press, no press conferences. Folks, that's just not right. And I believe it is going to catch up with her. Sure, the DNC is going to have their convention starting on Monday. And we saw yesterday, or excuse me, on Thursday, Joe Biden was campaigning with Kamala Harris in, of all places, Baltimore, Maryland. Folks, they're not going to lose Maryland, believe it. So, again, I think the American people are owed this, and we'll see if it comes to fruition. Cameron, speaking of Chicago, oh my, the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party is going to be out. They're estimating, folks, there could be 30,000 protesters. And again, folks, this is the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party. Cameron, what's your prediction for what's going to happen in Chicago with the Hamas wing and all these protesters?
Well, of course, it's in Chicago, Obama's hometown, and these Hamas protesters, I mean, I can't believe these people actually exist. Are they actual protesters? Are they paid by Soros? Who knows? I bet we're going to see a little chaos there. I mean, who do we have showing up to this thing? We have Clinton, Obama, Biden, maybe Biden if he decides to show up, Harris. This is just a swamp of people there, and I am deeply concerned about the people of Chicago and the potential attacks that can occur.
Well, I am too, and we don't wish any negative upon anybody, but folks, the tie-ins to 1968, for those of you who are old enough or have studied it in the history books, it's too eerily similar. I mean, in 1968, you had Lyndon Baines Johnson, the sitting Democratic president, decide not to run, but he did that in March, not when Biden did it here in the month of July. You had convention in Chicago. You had the country split over, at that time, the Vietnam War. Now you have the country split on virtually every issue. That's why this race is really a one-point race right now. Similarities are there. You had anti-war protesters in Chicago. Let me tell you, folks, if you get 30,000 of them, that is a gigantic number of protesters. And Cameron, I'm in your camp on that. I think there is potential here. It could be ugly. So we'll keep an eye on it and see. And instead, the speakers you mentioned, and we're going to show you a little video later in the show, folks, of what I call the murderer's row. No pun intended, but the Democrats you would just most likely to see not in front of you. But from what I understand, Cameron, Joe Biden's going to speak Monday, and then they're going to have Bill Clinton. I'm sure Hillary Clinton will be there. Barack Hussein will be there. Michelle, I'm sure they're all going to give their great speeches. But again, this DNC, when you look at that platform we're going to see, Cameron, it is a freak show.
It is a freak show. You know, it's just all the bad actors and deep state actors that don't have our country's best interest at heart. It's almost like these people are trying to destroy America. You know, and in Chicago, what a beautiful city it is, and it's such a shame what's happened. I mean, Lori Lightfoot was horrible. Now we have Brandon Johnson in there. You're going from bad to worse in Chicago, and I'm really concerned about that city. We need to bring Chicago back to the great city that it actually is.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a shame because all these cities are run by liberal Democrats, and it's the same problem. I mean, crumbling infrastructure, poor schools, bloated budgets, pension funds underfunded. It's just one problem after another. Crime up in Chicago, like the murder capital of the world. More people are murdered in Chicago than in Afghanistan. That's crazy. So anyhow, we hope they put on a safe convention. But again, their policies, folks, when you watch and see what they are advocating, it literally is a freak show. Now, contrast that with what we're getting ready to see on the Republican vision. Donald Trump and what we've talked about, Cameron and Matt have created a video called Dream On. So we're going to show you that video, and then we'll be back after that for a little bit of analysis.
Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Every time that I look in the mirror, My life's in books, written pages, live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh and sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream the devil dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream until your dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh and sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow, good Lord will take you away. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh and sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow, the good Lord will take you away.
As long as the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. The best is yet to come.
And we're back. Cameron, what a great job you and Matt did on that. I mean, it gives me goosebumps watching that video.
Yeah, it was a pretty amazing video. It's a little controversial. We started with the JFK assassination. Actually, we started with President Trump and a tweet saying, if I get back in office, I'm going to expose everything that was behind that JFK assassination, which we now know is tied to the CIA under George H.W. Bush, who we actually featured in this video. And then we have, all the deep state bad actors in there. And President Trump, you'll see going like this, at the end of them, and I think it was pretty amazing to have the president share this video because it kind of gave the public hope that there will be accountability in this next term. We had some amazing shares. We had shares by Carrie Lake, Charlie Kirk, Alina Habba, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Steve Bannon, DC Drano. And DC Drano said there's levels to this video that most people won't even understand. It was so important that President shared it because it gave our country hope that there will be accountability. And we're going to get all these bad actors behind bars. And thanks to Matt Struck, the best video editor ever. He did such a great job on this. Just super excited we were able to get this out, and then the president shared it.
Well, we're going to do this, folks. We're going to take a mid-course break here. But when we come back, we're going to tee up, in conservative circles, a lot of people, we always go after each other, but we're not like that here at Patriot TV. We're going to play some clips from a Newsmax reaction to that video, and it's really high-quality stuff. You're going to want to see that. Be back in 90 seconds.
Don't let them win. Patriot TV is committed to delivering the truth. America's new network for Patriots is growing fast, and we'd love you to join us as a member of Patriot TV. Your support makes it possible for us to continue to deliver unbiased reporting, thought-provoking discussions, and insights you won't find anywhere else. From in-depth interviews to behind-the-scenes footage, Patriot TV brings you closer to the voices shaping our nation's future. Whether it's political developments, cultural shifts, or global affairs, Patriot TV keeps you informed and empowered. As a member of Patriot TV, you'll get perks like personal invitations to exclusive Patriot TV events, where you can gather and network with like-minded Americans. We'll also host online events throughout the year with General Flynn, who's committed to host live Q&A webinars where callers like you can ask him questions and get real answers. Access to these events will be members only, so go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. We have a great membership option starting at just $9.99 a month, or save with our annual membership for only $99, or take advantage of the best value, the 2-year membership for just $159. Go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Do your part to make sure the truth gets out to all patriots and help ensure future programming. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
From that video, it highlights incredible footage from his campaign, all of his great accomplishments right there, so many to choose from. And it also urges Trump supporters to continue to dream on of a repeat of some of the greatest years in American history. I mean, if you watch this video, the editing on it, absolutely superb, especially when the song lyrics say dream on, and then the faces that pop up along with the end there with this liberal screaming. It's incredible. Joining me now to talk about it, former advisor for the Trump administration and host of America First here on Newsmax, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, I want to get your reaction to the video. I mean, it gave me chills. I swear, it got me emotional. Especially when he was kind of waving goodbye and he said, you've got to lose. Sometimes you have to lose to know how to win. And he's a winner. At the end of the day, he's a winner.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it just takes us back. It's the video version. I know this social media team, they're the best of the best. It's a video version for the 21st century of what Ronald Reagan asked America in 1980. He had one very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's the simplest question. We can break it down into all the stuff you and I, political wonks and, addict want to talk about, the border, inflation, wars in the Middle East, wars in Europe. We can talk about all of those things, but it's just one question, the one question that matters. How did you do under 4 years of President Trump? How was your life there? The fact that we had no wars, we had the strongest economy, the border was secure, we didn't have this transgender.
We have a little bit of a technical difficulty there. As Dr. Gorka was saying right there, we didn't have this transgender agenda going on. And then you're taking a look as well at the video talking about some of the trials and tribulations this country had to face. And there's that lyric there, you got to lose to know how to win. And there's Trump climbing up the steps there of Air Force One with Melania waving goodbye to his other presidency. But of course, he's not giving up. He is not backing down by no stretch of the imagination. And then yesterday, Trump got some good news. The Supreme Court agreed to hear his appeal to Colorado, ruling to remove him from the ballot. He spoke about it at his rally yesterday.
And we're back. Listen, folks, we like to share anytime we get good stuff, and we want to recognize Newsmax for that video there, that reaction to the, it's just great. So, hey, listen, back to the political game that we're dealing with right now. All right, so we saw Harris put her economic plan out there. Still no communication from her. And like Dr. Gorka said, and that great Ronald Reagan line, are you better off now than 4 years ago? Cameron, when I think about it, and I'm asking myself that question for the benefit of all Americans, are we better off that there's been 10 million illegal immigrants come in the country under Biden? I don't think so. Are we better off with inflation up 20% since Biden and Harris took office? I don't think so. And all the problems, the socioeconomic problems from having mass open borders, the cost of education, the cost of feeding people, housing people, the drugs, the fentanyl that's killing so many Americans. Cameron, I mean, Harris to try to just cover up the last 3.5 years, it's remarkable to me that this presidential race is even close, given that someone who is at the right hand of Joe Biden, for what they said, she was in the room with the key decisions were made. For us to be in this situation right now, it's sort of astounding.
Yeah, it's scary, especially Kamala being our quote unquote border czar that's never even visited the border, from what I gather. This border is probably the biggest concern because we have 8 to 10 million undocumented, unvetted illegal immigrants coming through our borders, where we give them money, driver's licenses, and essentially they're all going to have a ballot in their hand. I think that's their main goal here. The potential of these, well, there is sleeper cells inside of our border. We're in a very dangerous situation. I mean, I'd be kind of concerned if I was living in a liberal-run city right now, because it's not if, but when these people come out and attack. I mean, President Trump has told us this. I think we all need to have our head on a swivel and be very aware of our surroundings, because we're entering into uncharted waters and very trying times right now. It's scary.
Yeah, and Cameron, when you talk about Kamala Harris's position on illegal immigration, again, they've been in office 3.5 years with open border. What's she doing now? Well, from everything I'm seeing, she's trying to distance herself from Joe Biden policies. She's taking a stand on illegal immigration. She's playing that, well, I was a prosecutor, I was tough on crime. You know, we're gonna fix that border. When I hear that, I'm like, fix the border? You've had 3.5 years to fix the border. And then she said, well, I want to come up with a planned pathway to citizenship for all these illegals here. Really? Is that what the American people voted for when they elected Joe Biden in 2020? I don't think so. And then, Cameron, you know, they're trying to make an argument now. Well, inflation's starting to come down. Well, it had to come down. I mean, no country can have prosperity when you're having 20% inflation over 3 years. We think it's bad here, folks. Some of the countries that have tried her economic policies, they would die to get 20% inflation. Inflation would end up running 200, 300%. Remember Argentina, what it was years ago. I mean, currencies were destroyed because of some of this stuff. And this is not uncommon. So we cannot have that woman anywhere near the White House. Under Donald Trump, we had peace, we had prosperity, we had low inflation, and we were respected around the world. And Cameron, those policies she's advocating, there's nothing about peace and prosperity anywhere near those ideas.
Well, yeah, absolutely not. We have to think that probably the biggest thing with why we need to get President Trump in office, because there was no wars under President Trump. Peace. We need peace. We need peace through strength. You know, and no wars under Trump. He actually brought peace to the Middle East through the Abraham Accords. And these people, all they want is endless wars, which just generate so much money for the deep state. And when Trump's in office, I don't think we'll have another war again. This is probably the most important piece, because I don't want war. The American people don't want war. So, and look where we're heading right now, straight into World War III. We have, you know, Iran and Israel, and it's a matter of time before China invades Taiwan. We're getting into some dangerous area right now.
Yeah, Cameron, did you ever think you'd see a situation where after Putin attacked Ukraine, Ukraine would be amassing such large amounts of Russian territory? Mm-hmm. And my basic belief is, I believe that Ukraine has to do this because they got to have something to bargain with when they get down to negotiations with Putin over how to eventually end this thing. Folks, this conflict will come to an end at a certain point, but the question is this. When European governments, the United States and Canada, finally have started allowing the Ukrainians to use weapons against the Russians, which are now inside Russian territory, that is not something that the Russians are going to take kindly to. And Cameron, we saw the pictures of those Russian troops surrendering, basically putting them in trucks. So Ukraine is getting a fairly large amount of Russian POWs that they're going to be able to exchange for Ukrainian POWs. Again, in this situation, there's not going to be any winners in this war. It's really turning out to be bad for both sides. And as General Flynn said on this show previously, you know, both armies are being decimated. I mean, the casualties coming out of this war are astronomical. Then if we shift, like you just mentioned, Cameron, over to the Middle East, here, again, it's crystal clear to us, the Biden administration and the Harris, again, she's right in the room with him. We didn't have this when Trump was president. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought about doing this. And Trump not only, we talked about the Abraham Accords, moving the embassy to Jerusalem, the great relationship that happened between Israel and Saudi Arabia, that happened under President Trump. Now, Cameron, as you mentioned, we're staring at a possible three-front war if you're the Israelis. Potential attack from Iran. They're already fighting in Gaza, and they are wiping Hamas off the map, folks. I mean, they have taken out the vast majority of senior leadership, and they continue to root out Hamas. Yes, casualties are high. Why are they high? Because Hamas hides in buildings, in schools, in mosques, in churches. So, it's not a good situation there. And now there's potential coming out of Hezbollah in Lebanon. So, Cameron, you were spot on there when you were talking about the war situation. Boy, it would be worse under Harris. I cannot conceive the lack of respect they have for Biden. Can you imagine what it would be like under her?
Oh, it'd be terrible, and this war is more than a kinetic war. This is a war we're being programmed by our media, and we don't know what's real, what's fake anymore. AI. I think we're already in this war, and it doesn't have to be on a kinetic war with guns and tanks. I mean, we are already in this thing right now. There's a war for our minds through this mockingbird media, and we just need to use discernment, I think, out there and to determine what's real and what's not.
Yeah, no question about it, Cameron. Okay, we're going to take our final break, but we've got a treat for you. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to give you where the polling stood at the end of the week. We're going to talk about some other key things that have popped up in the campaign. And we've got a great closing video for you that you're really going to enjoy, especially if you project Donald Trump to win. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Don't let them win. Patriot TV is committed to delivering the truth. America's new network for Patriots is growing fast, and we'd love you to join us as a member of Patriot TV. Your support makes it possible for us to continue to deliver unbiased reporting, thought-provoking discussions, and insights you won't find anywhere else. From in-depth interviews to behind-the-scenes footage, Patriot TV brings you closer to the voices shaping our nation's future. Whether it's political developments, cultural shifts, or global affairs, Patriot TV keeps you informed and empowered. As a member of Patriot TV, you'll get perks like personal invitations to exclusive Patriot TV events, where you can gather and network with like-minded Americans. We'll also host online events throughout the year with General Flynn, who's committed to host live Q&A webinars where callers like you can ask him questions and get real answers. Access to these events will be members only, so go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. We have a great membership option starting at just $9.99 a month, or save with our annual membership for only $99, or take advantage of the best value, the 2-year membership for just $159. Go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Do your part to make sure the truth gets out to all Patriots and help ensure future programming. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
The world is about to shift. Banks are going cashless globally with the emergence of central bank digital currency, which will bring with it programmable money and the ability to turn on or off your purchasing power based on your digital social profile. It's like the equivalent of spyware in your bank account. You need to get out of the system with the world's safest and most precious assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott Precious Metals at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900.
And we're back. Hey, listen, I want to give a special shout out to Dr. Kirk Elliott. Pick up the phone and call him, 760-605-3900. He has been a huge supporter of Patriot TV. He's a great guy. They're one of the largest precious metal dealers in the United States. They have great customer service, and they will treat you tremendously. And if you want to put a portion of your portfolio into gold and silver, reach out to Dr. Kirk Elliott. Great guy, great company. Okay, let's talk about where this race stood, Cameron, at the end of the week. If you just listen to the mainstream media and the legacy media, you would think, well, my God, Harris is running away with this. They put up all these Harris-leaning polls. But you know what? Donald Trump got some pretty damn good polling numbers himself towards the end of the week. The Real Clear Politics average of all polls has Kamala Harris up by 1 point. But on Friday and on Thursday, Donald Trump got polling numbers that showed Donald Trump was leading by a point. So take these polling numbers, folks. They're important. Campaigns are won or lost based upon how they react to some of these polling numbers. But when you have a race literally as tight as this one, where in the Real Clear Politics average, Harris is up by a point, recent polls show Trump up by 1, I want to relate this back to you because Donald Trump said something at his Bedminster press conference on Thursday. He said, I tend to poll lower than my vote totals. And he's right. Back at the 2016, remember that election where went into election night, Hillary Clinton had a 99% chance to win? Well, it didn't happen, did it? They underpolled Trump that day by like 8 points. And then in the 2020 election, they had Biden winning by 9. He actually won by 4. So he was underpolled by 5. Now, polling methods have gotten a lot better since then, but the fact of the matter remains, 7 states are going to decide this election, and all of them are extremely, extremely tight. We just had polls come out of Pennsylvania that showed, one of them showed Donald Trump up by a point, the other showed it tied. So, folks, right now, on the 3 blue wall states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they're all plus or minus 1 point. That's within the margin of error. So what does that tell you, Cameron? Turnout is going to be critical in these states, and that's something that the Republicans really need to focus on.
Yes, these numbers are just, I kind of question these numbers. Harris ahead of Trump. I mean, you got to be kidding me right now. I think the majority of the country is pro-Trump. I think this is part of the Clinton-controlled media, Mockingbird media, trying to manipulate our minds here. It means we all need to get out and do our part. As General Flynn says, local action is national impact. Let's get out in our communities. Let's go volunteer at our polling stations. Let's go run for these school board positions. But, we need to keep fighting and keep raising awareness for why we need President Trump back in office and how dangerous it would be for Kamala to be there. Our country's already going to hell, and you're going to get much worse if Kamala's in office. So, yeah, we need to get out there and have our voices heard come November.
Yeah, no question about it, Cameron. And there's 4 other swing states, folks. North Carolina, where Trump held about a 2 to 3 point lead. Georgia, very tight, polling showing Trump up by less than a point there. And then we come out west to Arizona and Nevada. And we did get some good news, Cameron, from a friend of this show, Carrie Lake, who we were both with down at Mar-a-Lago earlier this year at a fundraiser. Carrie Lake, which was behind in some of the polls, has now tied Ruben Gallegos. I was listening to her speak yesterday, and boy, I'm telling you, she's traveling all throughout the state of Arizona, meeting voters. Gallegos, folks, he is as left as it gets. I mean, he's in that Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders type. That's how he voted. He's in the House of Representatives trying to get into the Senate. We do not need that in the Senate at all. Cameron, you know Carrie Lake. She's quite a woman, and she would be great for the state of Arizona.
Yeah, Carrie, I know Carrie. We're friends. She's a powerful person to have in that position. She's for Second Amendment, and it's shocking to see how close that race is out there. Carrie's an amazing person, and she's going to do a world of good, just like Mark Fincham will do good out there in that other Senate race in Arizona. I'm happy to hear Carrie's trending, and we just need to keep going forward with this because we need to put Carrie Lake in office in 2024.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And here's what could happen, folks. I mean, the Republicans are going to win West Virginia. They're leading in Montana. And if Carrie Lake could win in Arizona, that would give us a 52-48 Senate. Now, I think based upon how these things are shaking out right now, we're going to see the Democratic convention next week. We'll see the chaos that comes with the Hamas wing of it. But we all watched Donald Trump's presser from Bedminster. Prior to that, he had a small rally in North Carolina. Prior to that, he had his presser at Mar-a-Lago. Prior to that, he was in Georgia. So, I mean, Trump, I have seen this development over these past 4, we'll call them media events. There were some problems in that Georgia one. We've talked about it. We're not going to pull the wool over your eye. He didn't do a very good job in Georgia. He alienated a lot of people, made some statements he probably shouldn't have made. Then he comes to Mar-a-Lago, and he really cleaned that act up. He had Cameron, it was almost 2 hours that he spoke at Mar-a-Lago. He did an event in North Carolina, and then he had the presser in Bedminster. Cameron, that's 4 events the president had, and his opponents had 0. So, as we head into it, I think Trump, if he focuses on these issues, the issues are what is going to drive it for the Republicans. He's got the issues on his side, Cameron.
Yeah, he does. We just need to get out the voting booths and make sure we vote him in 2024. He's a ball of energy, man. That guy goes two rallies a day, 3 rallies a day. I mean, where is Harris? Again, where is Harris? Trump speaking for 2 hours? I don't think we can get Harris to go out there and speak for 2 minutes. Trump's showing us who he is. He doesn't need to tell us who he is. He's showing us who he is. He's showing us he's the sharpest attack, and he's ready to serve the American people again.
Yeah, I couldn't echo your statements any more than that, Cameron. And the other thing that we really need to do, and President Trump has encouraged this, once the voting begins, vote early, folks. Do not wait until Election Day, especially if your state has where you can vote early. I know a lot of states do it on weekends, even if they have mail-in ballots. Take advantage. Almost every state you can track when your ballot's counted. So let's not make the mistake we made in the 2020 election where we waited until Election Day to vote. By then, the Democrats had these huge leads. So let's focus on getting our votes in, getting them counted early. And the reason that's important, folks, is because the campaigns then, once they know you voted, and believe me, the technology today, they know a lot about you. So once they know that you voted, then they can take those precious resources and devote it towards getting other like-minded Trump voters by utilizing those resources on them. Okay, we've promised you a great video here. And again, I'm going to go back and we're going to thank Matt and we're going to thank Cameron. There's a lot of humor, particularly for those of you who want to see Democrats exit the stage. Mr. Producer, tee up that last video for us.
No thanks, Kamala. You've done a terrible job. You've been terrible at everything you've done. You're ultra-liberal, and we don't want you here. We don't want you anywhere. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
How about that, folks? Cameron, Matt, wow, 4 videos, unbelievable job. And folks, there's going to be more coming up. That is really incredible. We want to get rid of Biden. We got rid of him. Now we got to get rid of Harris, and we got to get Trump back in that White House.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. This video highlights Kamala. Do you want the cackling hyena as president, or do we want the president that's going to keep us safe, protected, and put money in our pockets? And it's a video focused on some of these corrupt DOJ, the judges, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith. We want to tell them all, it's time to go. Beat it. And Kamala, you are fired.
Boy, that is spot on. Hey, I want to put up a couple things here for my partner here. All right, this is Capital Times Magazine. Mr. Producer, if you can, there we go. Look who's on the cover. Congratulations there, my friend.
Thank you.
And then I want to show one other little goodie here before we close. This is a little bit tougher to see, but it's called MAGA Asian. If you're in Southern California this weekend, MAGA Asian. The Vietnamese community is huge supporters of Donald Trump. There's going to be rallies this weekend. Let me tell you something, folks. They have a lot of fun. So if you're in Southern California, MAGA Asian. All right, that's it for Schaftlein Report today. We'll be back next week. We've got some great guests coming, and we'll stay on top of what's happening with this campaign. Have a great rest of your weekend.